This gorgeous binding is from England. Those are from Japan. And now those are unusual. They are printed on so-called crepe paper and they were made for tourist trade. The late 1800s, because Japan was closed to the rest of the world for a long time. And then Commodore Perry went to Japan in, I forget the exact date, but the late 1800s, and he's the one who opened Japan to the rest of the world. Then tourists started coming, and they wanted to take advantage of that. So those books were probably for the tourist trade. They're very, very pretty, really are. Now, you're very good at your by the way. She's just remarkable. I mean, she's so well behaved. You see these great big gift box there? There's one teeny little book on the side. You may also remember the golden books. And you see there are books, and this came out in 1942. And they sold for 25 cents. Well, at that time, I understand, the average price was $1.50. So this was fantastic. And also, you didn't have to go to a bookstore. You could buy them in drugstores, in supermarkets, and I have bought them in drugstores. Okay. Well, they were shunned by librarians. I mean, the librarians thought that, this is not proper literature, this is not good reading. But I thought they were charming, and lots of others did too. They are, I understand, I was told, the illustrated books for children that sold the best ever. But this is to tell you how successful they became, regardless of what the librarians had to say. Now, just in passing here, those books are rare, and I'll let you read the label if you want, because there's only one of each, and here it is. The authors have produced their books for the children, only one copy, so that makes them very rare, and here it is. Now, this one is one of 8, I think it was, by the famous Edward Lear. Edward Lear was an Englishman who was hired by the Earl of Derby to illustrate the Earl's aviary, the Earl's birds. But the Earl had children, and he decided to amuse the children of the Earl. So he started the famous nonsense limerick that you must have heard of or read. And they are silly and they are nonsense, but they're fun. And he drew, and he made 8 copies for friends, by himself by hand, each by hand, and that's one of them. So that's what also is rare. But you know what happened with him? He decided that, it was going to soil his reputation to do such silly little things. So he published them under a pen name, which is right there, of Derry Down Derry. Then when he realized how well they sold, he became jealous of himself. So he reinstated his own name, you see. So, and the reason why we have that hat here with an illustration of it, because when he was riding a train one day, he saw people across him were reading one of his books. So he said, I wrote that book. And the people said, I guess that we would say today, yeah, sure, sort of thing. I'm sure they used another expression. And he said, no, absolutely. He took his hat off and showed them that his name was still inside the hat, so they had to believe him. So that's why we have a hat. Now, we cannot not talk about the immensely popular Stratemeyer books, the Hardy Boys, the Foxy Twin, the Nancy Drew, and so forth, right? Well, Stratemeyer produced this immensely successful series of the Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, and others, but he could not write them all, of course. He decided he was going to make writing children's books a whole production, a big business. So he had a whole syndicate. He had stenographers, he had writers, he had you name it. And he would ask people to write the books, you see, and they produced them like the chance. He had 2 great people he admired a great deal. Horatio Alger for his style of writing, and Henry Ford because for the system of assembly line. And he wanted to do the same thing with books, which he eventually did. And there is an interesting letter at the end where he's writing one of his authors, Margaret Worth, and asking her to write 3 books in 4 months. And that became Nancy Drew. She was first called Stella Strong, I think, but eventually they renamed her Nancy Drew, as you know, immensely popular, right? That woman wrote under the name of Caroline Keene. That's the other book that I do remember. My daughter did read them. Now, he was praised by Fortune magazine, and he got in the middle there, as you know, what a great success and what a great writer. Well, they were not great writers. I mean, it was not really literature, but they interviewed teenagers. And I understand that out of, I think it was 30,000 teenagers, 98% listed those books as their favorite books of all time. So, regardless what the librarians had to say once again, this is not literature. Well, it wasn't, but, it made the children read and they loved it. So, anyway. Now, how about Winnie and his friends? And I have a story to tell you that too. They are the real dogs. A.M. Milne, the author, who sent the photo there, went to Harvard in 1921 bought those dolls for his little son, Christopher Milne, who became Christopher Robin in the story. And you could see the two of them there with the bear, and the bear you have right here, the real bear, the real dolls. Now, you know, some people, you may remember that a number of years ago there was a British woman in Parliament who got up and made a big thing. This is outrageous, those don't belong to England, they must come back, etc., etc. Well, no, we did not steal them. Let me tell you the story. A.A. Milne gave the dolls to his American publisher, E.P. Dutton. They in turn presented them to the New York public so that everyone can come and enjoy them. And let me tell you something, I do say everyone. I also work at one of the information desks at the right? Every time people come and ask to see the dog, to see me, and usually adults, not that much of children. Isn't that something? I've even had people from Australia. Now, I'm not saying they fly 28 hours to see Winnie, but they do come in. One of the things they want to do is see Winnie and Friends, who is immensely popular. I happen to love Winnie myself, I'm excited. He's very popular with everyone. Now, children also get their books to the library, right? And here we come to very famous librarians. I have to mention their stories to you. Three, right? Now, this woman, Augusta Vick, became the first African-American librarian at the New York Public Library. She was immensely popular, she worked between all the way to the 30s into the 40s. And she also felt there were not enough books produced for children of color, as she called them. So she made a point of acquiring such books, you see, commissioning them and so forth. And you can see there, you know, which one little girl. And then here we have, isn't quite a sweetheart, please, thank you. I can't blame her though, but I'm